The man was stunned when he realized his own father was using sign language to secretly tell the doctor to make his surgery fail. His father even wanted his own son to end up disabled. He had paid the doctor $10 million and warned him to keep it a secret. What his father didn't know was that the man had secretly taught himself sign language. Watching his father's fake concern now felt bitterly ironic. If he hadn't learned sign language, he would still be living under his parents' lies. When he was first found and brought back home after being lost for years, his parents told him his adoptive mother was a human trafficker. They claimed it was because of her that their family had been separated for so long. He had believed them, so when his adoptive mother came to visit, he had coldly pushed her away. But she never blamed him. Before leaving, she told him he could always call her and come home anytime. Thinking back on it now, he felt it was painfully ironic. His parents had wanted their adopted son to win the upcoming medical competition so badly, they were willing to have their biological son crippled. The adopted son even pretended to care about his injuries, but the man knew the truth. 3 days earlier, the adopted son had hired gang members to run him over, leaving him without the use of his legs. While he was lying unconscious, the adopted son had also broken his hands to make sure he could never compete. When the adopted son admitted it without shame, the man burned with rage, but with both arms in casts, he couldn't fight back. Then he heard his parents' voices outside. Seizing the chance, the adopted son slammed his own head against the table. When the parents rushed in and saw him hurt, they immediately assumed the man had pushed him. They didn't even consider that their real son's arms were broken. Without another word, they left with the adopted son to get him treated. At that moment, the man completely gave up on them. He called his adoptive mother and told her he had been wrong and wanted to come home. She was overjoyed, paused her most important meeting, and rushed to the hospital to get him. When she arrived, she ran into his parents. They recognized the assistant at her side as the right-hand man of the wealthiest man in the country, the same man who had helped their family rise to success. What they didn't know was that the richest man they had been relying on was actually the adoptive mother they had slandered. Seeing her son's condition, she immediately called in the best surgeons in the world to operate on him. Meanwhile, the adopted son confidently entered the competition, convinced no one could beat him now. The father publicly announced that his real son had voluntarily withdrawn from the contest. The principal was stunned, knowing the man was the most talented medical student in the school and had promised just the day before to compete. Determined to give him a chance, the principal postponed the competition, risking his own reputation, convinced something urgent had happened. But the father argued there had never been a postponement in history and accused the principal of favoritism. He used his authority as the man's father to formally withdraw him from the event. The very next moment, the man appeared at the venue in a wheelchair. Seeing him in this state, the adopted son smugly agreed to let him participate. The principal asked if he could still perform surgery, and when the man firmly said yes, the principal sent him to the rest area to wait for the adopted son to finish. After hours of precise work, the adopted son completed his surgery with an almost perfect score. At that point, the man was the only contestant who hadn't competed yet. The adopted son came over to mock him, telling him to come back when his hands healed. But when the man refused to back down, the adopted son challenged him to perform immediately. As the judges began questioning whether he could even operate, the man suddenly shattered the plaster casts on his arms and stood up.